Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
Welcome to the show, guys. This is the How Did They Grow podcast, and today we have on Dorsey Pruder. Dorsey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me. I'm Dorsey Pruder, as you said. I'm the CEO and founder of Conscious Co-Parenting Institute, where we help divorced parents who've lost a relationship with their children after the divorce reunite. And I also have a second company, Soul Illumination, where we actually help people do the deeper healing work through psychedelic plant medicine. So bridging the gap, if you will, for those who want to go deeper in the healing space.
Amazing, amazing. So do those two businesses ever get entangled? Like, do you ever have clients? I'm curious. Do you ever have clients from the parenting business come to the shaman business?
Yeah, so we have a lot of parents that come for the deeper healing work. So a lot of parents hosted group and individual ceremonial work. So we create or curate a entire process. So pre-work to actually the ceremony to post-work. So it's not just let's do psychedelic plant medicine. We actually curate the entire process, and we do that with parents, and we also do it with executives and creators and people who actually have businesses, entrepreneurs, people who've like hit their ceiling, if you will, and are like ready to bust through to the next thing. In other words, they're super successful, but they know that they're meant for something more, or there is something more, if that makes sense.
Amazing, amazing. So amazing. That's all amazing. So let me kind of ask you a personal question.
Okay.
Did you always see yourself as sort of an entrepreneur, or was that something that came along the way?
I've always been an entrepreneur. When I was a teen, I've been working since I was 14. And when I was a teenager, I worked, it's kind of a funny story. I worked in a hosiery store, which, you know, you probably don't know what that is, but that existed when I was young. And it was a funny story, but they opened a couple topless bars in my small town I grew up in. And so it was like, well, you can either be a topless dancer or you can sell the outfits for the topless dancers. We started carrying that merchandise. So I had a wild idea at 15 to let me buy the merchandise and have my boss, who was 25 at the time and I was 15, we went backstage of these topless bars and we started selling the outfits, if you will, for the dancers in cash. So we doubled the price because they didn't want to come to the mall. And so that was really the kickoff of my entrepreneurial career. And I saved enough money that by the time I was 17, I was able to buy my very first car.
Amazing, amazing. So you've successful entrepreneur from young. That's amazing. So that's amazing. I'm kind of curious. These two businesses, right? Which one came first? I think I'm really curious about that.
Yeah. So I started the Conscious Co-Parenting Institute after being a successful producer in the mortgage industry. In my mid-30s, my early 30s, I went through my own divorce, and I discovered this thing called parental alienation, where parents, where after a divorce, a separation or divorce, one parent was interfering with the relationship with the child and the other parent. And what I discovered was this was a phenomenon, but nobody was really solving it. There were some experts in the problem, but nobody solved it. And that's actually what happened to me. So it was 19 years ago. And I started that business and quickly rose to the top as somebody who actually solved the problem. So we reunite families all over the world.
Amazing, amazing. Let me get clear on that. You reunite families, like families that have been divorced, you bring them back together. Is that what you mean?
I reunite, that's a great clarification. I reunite the alienated, the rejected parent and the child. So the parents So the divorce ends the marriage, the couplehood.
Okay.
Doesn't end the family. So a family is always a family. Mom is always mom and dad is always dad. So when a parent is cut off, then we help the parent and the child reunite so the child can have a relationship with both of their parents.
Amazing. So amazing. So does that have to do with a lot of legal stuff? Just so I can understand.
Yeah, so we do work in the legal system. We provide solutions for judges and lawyers, for
Makes
parents.
sense.
Yeah, we have one program, High Road to Reunification, that gets court ordered all over the world. So we come in when there's a protective order put in place. Really what happens with this family dynamic is it's a child protection issue, not a child custody issue. So we're oftentimes going into the family court system, dealing with custody when it's actually a child protection issue because a child is being psychologically abused. So we help the family or the parent and the lawyer lay the foundation based on the evidence to help them understand what's going on. And then we can also facilitate reunification.
Amazing. 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 So doing all that, how did you, at what point, how long ago did the shaman thing come into play?
Yeah, so I've always been a shaman. You know, all my clairs are active, and what that means is I'm multisensory. So all my sensories are active, so I can see, hear, taste, smell. I just know things. People are like, "How do you know that about me?" It just comes to me. And during COVID, my team and I did a shamanic healing ceremony. And it really became crystal clear that, oh, this is the deeper work that I had already been doing without the plant medicine. And it just really evolved that this was the next edge for me. So, and it was really what's happening in the world today is a lot of people are evolving, right? We're all evolving, and a lot of wayseers, if you will, those of us who are change agents, right? We do big change things in the world. Like we're disruptors, and a lot of CEOs and creative types, a lot of people that are like at their next creative edge. They know that maybe they've built a business, they're successful, but are realizing like, I'm meant for something more. And that's really where I was a few years ago. I'd created everything that could be created in the co-parenting space. Like, we can solve the problem wherever the divorcing parent is. And what really I became aware of was this deeper work that needs to be done. And it's not just, psychedelics aren't just there to heal. That's like step one. Then the next level is the next edge, if you will, the creative space of where people's souls are evolving to.
Amazing, amazing. Where people's souls are evolving to. What is that? Kind of break that down before we get into the business stuff.
Okay, so it means like, think about it like this. Maybe somebody's built a company, maybe they've closed a round, or they've launched their vision, and they've risen to the top of their industry, if you will. And maybe they've done that a few times, which is what I've done, right? I've done that a few times, and there's like a newer iteration of who they are. So this isn't about like, doing anything. It's about shifting how you're being. And a lot of people, there's a psychedelic revolution going on. It's out in the world again, and there's a lot of people talking about it. But a lot of people, much like me, don't really want to go to the jungle and get their hands dirty and lay in the dirt and do all of those things to do like ayahuasca or some of those beautiful medicines. And while there's nothing wrong with that, those are beautiful experiences for people. What we've really discovered is that people want a curated experience in a safe environment in the United States that they don't have to go to the jungle for. And so we've really created a beautiful process of helping people find their divinity from within. And we use what's called the Dorsey method. And really that's divinely designed. That's you, right? Your path, your patterns, your potential. Those things aren't random. You were divinely designed for impact and evolution. So that's what I'm meaning by that. And also that we have a divine order to this, or an ordered intelligence that we're waiting to really reclaim. So it's like bringing our divine intelligence, our our code, if you will, who we are, each of us as individuals, as the healer within, if you will, or the seer within, the shaman within, right? What you can do for yourself. And that requires it requires us to radically change. And that doesn't happen on the surface. A lot of us can go through iterations of ourselves, but the radical change is what happens at the root. And it's that inner transformation, and it's not performance tweaking. So for those of us who have like successful businesses or reiterated ourselves many times, right? I don't even know if that's a word, reiterated ourselves. We've done this many times. We keep cycling through. We're at this next level, right? And it's like, what's next? And oftentimes we find ourselves in the same, patterns or the same loop. And, conscious power really is, you are awakening your clarity, you're in alignment, and you have your inner compass driving you. So it's not me telling you, it's me illuminating that for you so you can see what's already within you, which is your divine intelligence, unlocking you, the real, unapologetic, fully aligned you. And what I find with divorced parents is oftentimes they stumble, right? The divorce happens, and especially when they've had success in other areas of their life, and the divorce can rock their world, and they don't know what to do. And so taking them through this process, this journey, if you will, of really unlocking those things, allows people to step back into being who they authentically are.
Amazing. This is all amazing, and it's all pretty new to me, but I'm understanding.
Picking up what I'm putting down. You're picking up what I'm putting down.
I'm picking it up. Definitely.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
This is kind of a nice segue to transition into business stuff. Obviously, you've been an entrepreneur from young, which is amazing. How has that shaped what you do today for both your businesses? How do you get most of your clients? You do a lot of marketing. How does that work?
It's a great question. It's so interesting. I started in social media. So I started my conscious co-parenting business before social media was even a thing. And in 2006. So Facebook didn't even open up to us regular people that weren't in college until like late 2000, 2007, 2008. And I actually had a nanny who was in college. So she was like, you got to get on this thing called Facebook. I'm like, what is that? And interestingly, I really launched into the stratosphere on social media. Facebook in the early days was great because there was nobody talking about alienation and high conflict divorce and all the things. I was really the very first person to talk about this family dynamic really in a social media space. And I launched a group called Let's Get Your Kids Back. And really before groups were a thing, I was doing all those things before Facebook started groups and all of that. And I really started to learn about social media. I'm a very social person. So bringing myself, who I am authentically, to social media is really important. And I'm an early adopter, so I love being on all of the social platforms and bringing my authentic voice and humor, even in these challenging situations. So my word of advice for people is be you, right? Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Do you. And you can use framework, and remember that framework is really just a guide, if you will, but you should still bring your authentic self, because you take you wherever you go. So you might as well take yourself to social media as well. Your authentic self.
Definitely. I like the fact that you emphasized on authentic, because social media is going in that direction. In the past decade, there's been a shift. There's been a lot of people taking advantage of other people on social media, in terms of saying one thing and doing another, or saying one thing and not doing anything at all. So the
Yeah.
trust levels are at an all-time low on social media. So that's one thing. And
Yeah.
that has translated into people need to see you more to buy
Yeah.
from you on social media. Yeah.
Yeah. It's building trust. When I was in the
Yeah.
mortgage business, that's what I learned was high trust selling. It was like I stumbled
Yeah.
into some cassette tapes. You know, you probably don't even know what those are, but cassette tapes where it was like, and it was all about, you know, high trust. And I was like, oh, that's just who I am anyway. And so really that's the foundation of everything I do, is to build trust first and to have high trust. And it's like the whole market talks about it now, but it's really before the internet, that was the only way. It was like back in the day of pagers before cell phones, and I would go in real estate and builders offices, and you had to build trust and, you know, asking what people need. I think that's a thing that's really missing a lot, is people are just showing up and throwing up, even in the internet or the social media space. So they're just throwing things at people, hoping that it would stick, instead of just asking them, what do you need? What do you want? What's going to serve you at the highest level? And when you ask those questions, you actually can find out a lot about who you serve and like what really is going on for them. And like, and it's not always, most of the time, it's not what we think it is, right? It's like, it's all these other things. I'll give you an example from like the divorce space. You know,
Okay.
everybody thinks, well, they just want to reunite with their children. Yeah, that's obvious. That's the obvious answer. Why, you know, why do people come to Conscious Co-Parenting Institute and do Reconnect or High Road? Well, they want to reunite with their alienated children. That's up here, right? The top here, that's obvious. But what's really going on? What's deep below the surface that they need, right? That they really want. They want to heal, right? They want to be able to communicate with their family in a way that they don't get triggered, right? They want their child to fold back into their loving arms and have a normal relationship with them. They want to be able to parent again. So we could talk about the surface stuff, but what happens underneath the surface is where we serve at the highest, when we understand what they really need, not necessarily what they want and what they think they need, if that makes sense. So there's a trite cliche in sales, but I really love it, which is sell them what they want, give them what they need. You know, and it's really true. Sell them what they want and give them what they need, or what they think they want anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. Because like more times what you think you want is not actually what you need. And the only person who's going to be able to tell you that is a specialist, is an expert like yourself.
It's actually, I'm going to correct you if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Okay.
It's
Sure.
it's an expert holding the space so that you're vulnerable enough to excavate that from within yourself. And that's what we do. So one of my gifts is to illuminate that space, creating that safe container for you. So you go in and find the truth within yourself, because it's not as powerful or effective if I tell you. It's much more powerful, and the transformation is effective when you find it within yourself, because you have all the answers that you need, and the wisdom is already within you. So my job isn't to tell you. My job is to hold that beautiful curated space for you to feel safe and vulnerable, to allow that to excavate, to allow that to come out and to be illuminated out in the light of day. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. And to bring that back to a sales example that you brought, it's like in sales, they tell you, don't say it. Let the prospect say it. Because when you say it, it doesn't matter. It weighs so much more when the prospect says it. You know what I mean?
Yes, it totally does. I talk about this with my sales team all the time. It's like, ask them the questions and let them answer, and then sell them that. The framework, our framework, that's just a framework. We're just wrapping the framework around the authentic self, what they actually want. So just sell them what they want. And then we teach them how to get that, right? And how they get this is really what they need. So yeah, it's like, they don't care if you have 10 modules or an online campus or a social media platform or a private group, or, I mean, we provide all of those things. Those are just resources, but they only care about what are you going to do for them? What is working with you going to get them, right? Am I going to get a relationship with my kids? Am I going to I want to feel better. I want to stop feeling guilty and shame. This is really what they want, but they secretly aren't going to say it, because think about parenting, for example. When somebody loses the parenting, the rug gets pulled out from underneath them and they lose time and relationship with their child, it's horrifying. And as a parent, it's like one of the most like humiliating, embarrassing, shame-filled guilt experiences. And guilt and shame are the most debilitating feelings in the human condition. So then we're embarrassed by that. And so people aren't talking about it. They're afraid of people judging them, which is our greatest fear, of being rejected and judged. And so they aren't saying anything. And then they get mired in the space of being a victim of that versus really helping them understand how they got there and what they can do differently, how they can get what it is that they want. I ask parents all the time, and also people that do healing work with us at Soul Illumination. I'm like, what do you want? And the look on the people's face is like, well, nobody's ever really asked me that before. And I'm like, yeah, well, I can't help you get where it is that you want to go and achieve what it is that you want if I don't know, or you don't know what that is. So my job is to help you fill the gap, bridge the gap, if you will, but the destination is yours. What is it? Where do you want to go? What do you want?
What do you want? Exactly. I'm assuming that's like your messaging on social media. That's like your big thing is like, yeah. Tell me more about that. Because like I'm trying to picture the social media part of it. Is it like you have two different accounts for your two different businesses?
Yeah, but we're starting to merge them, because the truth is I take wherever I go, and I've been in a pivot. So I've been in this transition for a few years, and this shedding of the old, if you will, and I can't leave the parents behind. And what about the children? And blah, 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 right? My fear, right? So what's really emerging is what's emerged every time I've made a pivot. I mean, I left the photography business into the mortgage business. So I did creative, artistic to money. I sold money for a living, selling money for houses. Then I literally left that business in my mid-30s, started Conscious Co-Parenting Institute, and started doing this deeper, like meaningful healing work. And now it's really all of them are converging and coming full circle at Soul Illumination, where it's like health, wealth, and relationships. All of those are important. And so the messaging, we're starting to bridge all of that, and we're bridging the families, or the parents, the adult parents and some adult children, over to the Soul Illumination space. So what's starting to emerge, Mike, is my messaging, right? My method, which has really been the underpinning of everything I've always done, even at Conscious Co-Parenting Institute, and my authentic voice, which is a little bit of a sass, a little bit of a lot of fun. I like to have a good time. I like to bring levity to those really challenging situations, and I like to take the esoteric, very complicated, sometimes spiritual world, and simplify it. So my social media is starting to merge really into that space of like distilling down. And you don't have to be a hippie dip, right? You don't have to go into the jungle. You don't have to, like, I used to have a fear of like saying I was a shaman, and because of the legal stuff. And I'm just like, I don't care. I just live unapologetically now. I am who I am. These are the things that I do. So if you want to work with me, cool. If not, that's fine too. I don't take it personally. So if that makes sense.
Exactly. And it's the same thing, especially with people we work with. It's like, you are you. Stop trying to change your thing. Because like there's this lady, I remember her name on Instagram is Corporate Mystic. So she's a corporate coach, a business coach, but she's a mystic, right? So that was her thing in the beginning. So she was kind of in this dilemma. Am I not getting clients because I'm a mystic? This. And we said, no, that's you. Hone in on that, because I want to work with you because of who you are, not because of what you do. If you're a business coach, there are tons of business coaches. They work with you because they like you, because they mess with what you do. They mess with your mystic.
That's right. What sets you apart? Why are you different?
Exactly.
We're getting ready to launch the Evolution Code, and this is a very, very targeted market of people that are successful entrepreneurs or C-suite people, creatives, people that they don't need a program. They don't need an online program or a mastermind or all those things. They need an awakening. They are getting an experience, and they want an experience that helps bust the success ceiling wide open, right? It helps really re-illuminate that space of creativity and their authenticity and why they started their business in the first place. Or are they also in a pivot, and it's like busting through the fear, right? And it doesn't matter how many zeros you have behind your paycheck, you're still a human, and feelings are feelings and emotions are emotions. All of things are still there. And most overachievers, if you will, high net worth people start their business and often still do their business years later from this stuck or this belief of unworthiness. They don't even realize that this is how they're feeling, but it's like they do more and they've got to do more, and it's more metrics and numbers and all of those things. But we're not here to do all of those things. They're already getting support in all of those areas. This is the inner game. This is the place that nobody really is talking about, and the space of which the next ceiling is busted, right? It's the space of finding that authentic voice that is uniquely held for each individual, and it's different for everyone. And for opening up that space, like that is a curated space where they don't feel like, for people that have done plant medicine and, psychedelics and stuff, I've done it in different areas in different venues and things. And there's a stigma about it still. And people, especially business people and people that are in corporate America, they don't want to go to the jungle, and they don't want to sit in a group of 45 people, doing ayahuasca, and everybody's throwing up. And, it's very hippie dip is the word that keeps coming to me, but they want to have a curated experience where you have that internal healing and that internal awareness. And maybe they've already done a lot of the healing, but they want to have that next, like, what's coming through for them. Connection with the divine, if you will, a connection with their higher self, a conversation that's hard to have in the boardroom. So, but it's a curated space of which they can incorporate who they authentically are without all the other things that don't really make sense to them, that doesn't resonate with them. So, and also me, I don't really want to go to the jungle either. I don't want to go camping. I want to curate experience in a nice area or in a nice resort that feels good. And there's, again, nothing wrong with the jungle experience.
Definitely.
Not everybody wants to do that, if that makes sense.
Yes, definitely. I love everything you're saying. I want to kind of get into, because like we've spoken a lot, you're giving a lot of value to our audience. You said you're kind of transitioning. Does that mean you're slowing down on the on the divorce thing?
No, I'm not slowing down. That business is built. There's really nothing else to create there. I've literally met the divorcing parents' need wherever they are in the process. So if they're just starting out, we can prevent alienation. We can do mediation. We can create co-parenting plans. There's co-parenting courses. We have Reconnect and High Road. We have custody resolution method. We have ways to plug into the legal system, ways to recover alienated children. There's literally nothing else I've hit the creative ceiling. It's like it's like I'm answering the same question over and over and over again. And I'm like, I'm bored. Here's a video. Here it is. I've done healing work in that space. There's nothing else to create. So conscious co-parenting is not going anywhere. The company is thriving and it's beautiful and the work is amazing. It's life-changing. I'm evolving. My soul is like, I'm meant for
You're getting that awakening.
It's funny. In 2008, I was at a party and somebody read my tarot cards, and somebody I didn't know. And he said, wow, you're doing two things and you've got to pick a lane. And one, you're like saving the kids, and the other is you're saving the souls. And he's like, you've got to pick one for now, and you've got to go deep. And then you can go wide. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll do the divorce stuff. I guess I'll do the co-parenting stuff. But I remember saying, you better give me something great in my last hurrah, like in my next iteration of myself, in my next era, if you will. I want to evolve to the next level. I was doing a program called Higher Purpose Mastery, which I still have. And so I focused, I went deep into the co-parenting, but 19 years later, I'm like, okay, there's no more deepness. I've done it all. And the content is there, the programs are there, but now my soul is saying it's the next era. And it's scary. And that's what the evolution code is all about. It's like, I've been there, done that. I know what you're going through. And it's like, and here's
trust me to hold your hands.
Yes, we've got you. Yeah. Yeah. And it is scary. It is scary when your soul is evolving and you're like in the next era and you're like, oh my gosh, I've amassed this huge following. We have big groups and lots of support and lots of followers and people know who I am. And yet it's like, okay, and here we go. We're going to the next thing. Yeah.
Amazing. This is all amazing and interesting as well. Cause like, I speak to a lot of business coaches, mindset coaches, but this is some new stuff that I'm not heard of and I am interested in. So let me I think it's gone full circle here. Let me kind of ask you, where do you see, because like the divorce thing is done. It's amazing. I love the fact that you said that. So where do you see you? Where do you see, what did you call it? Mind?
The evolution code? The evolution code?
No, you called it something else. The entire thing.
Oh, soul illumination.
Soul illumination, exactly. Where do you see Dorsey Pruru and soul illumination and the business and the brand in general in 2025? What is the goal? Where are you trying to get to?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I see the brand and the vision, which is evolving into speaking on podcasts like this and stages and really bringing forth the introduction of psychedelics, incorporating AI technology. So we help our clients also integrate AI vision activation tools and strategic embodiment practices. So bringing mind, body, spirit, and AI, all incorporating all of it, because the AI is moving at warp speed now. And being a technology junkie, I really see myself leading the charge of bringing this beautiful, esoteric, otherworldly, experience that sometimes, the experience feels unattainable or like uninterested or weird to like the boardroom, if you will. Like I'm making it, I'm creating space. Yeah, like how everybody can consume it, like what it makes sense to everyone, like how to talk about what's going on from a esoteric perspective in a way that you understand, like what it means for you. So in layman's terms, if you will. And also experience, like the experience of it, like how you can actually experience this deeper work. Yeah. And giving yourself greater meaning for your life that you already have, by the way. It's already there. It's just activation. We're just activating that. Yeah.
Amazing. When you came on, you told us that you want to do a social media blitz to kind of get this amazing message out there. Kind of break that down to our audience. What are the plans? What are the systems you have in place to make that happen?
Yeah, that's great. So I'm getting ready to do a social media challenge. So
wow.
I haven't titled it yet, but I'm thinking something along the lines that breakthrough can't be ignored, and or something like that, where we're actually doing the deep activation experience. So instead of just a challenge, like everybody's doing a challenge, and we've done challenges in the divorce space and they work and they're great, but this is a challenge that's actually an experience. So not just like, okay, go home and do your homework and, post it in the social media chat. It's like the hidden cost of success. Like, what is it costing you to be a high achiever or to be an achiever and feel stuck and not really truly on the path to freedom? And then really creating or curating the experience, even in, even in the challenge online and in social media, and helping people really surrender to the unknown. So really moving into the space and curating like an experiential experience, like plant medicine without the plant medicine in social. So guiding them using my shamanic skills to like really go to that deeper state of consciousness quickly, because that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't have a lot of time, and they don't want to do a lot of stuff, and they don't want to be on the internet for 5 hours and all of those things.
Yes.
So it's like curating it quickly and helping them experience an altered state even before a full live curate experience with plant medicine. So
yes. Amazing. And it's like, this stuff is going to be amazing because not a lot of, would you say, like, I mean, I'm curious, would you say the awareness is not there on social media, like for what you do and your kind of thing?
Yeah, so there's a lot of awareness now about psychedelics, like it's starting to come out everywhere. There's like somatic healing, which is body work and energy work. There's a lot of different like components of things, and we've really brought them all together and taken the best parts of many different modalities, if you will, and ancient wisdom with modern day techniques to really, including technology and AI, to make it so you can take all of this stuff and implement it quickly. So I don't know anybody else that's doing that. I'm leading the charge. This is like my next iteration, my next era, if you will, is to like bring it all together, which is something I've always done. It's what I did in the divorce space. It's what I did in the mortgage industry, and creating the scenario of the builder paid closing costs in the mortgage business. I mean, an innovative as a 15-year-old and taking the product to the person and doubling down and making money. So it's a skill I've always had. So I'm 55, so the last 40 years, and probably before then, but I can't remember when I was a kid like that. So I've taken that skill and really brought it forward. And that's what I want to help other people really see too. What is that about you? Opening up that space so you can thread the needle for yourself as well.
Amazing. And I love the fact that you are willing to use, social media as that vehicle to get that out.
Man, I'm so grateful for social media. If it wasn't for social media, I can't remember what it was like, really. I mean, I can, knocking on doors and with a Thomas guide driving around with a map in my car, but I'm so grateful for social media. It literally has opened up the world, and we have clients all over the world. And I love that about social media. Yeah.
Amazing. I think we've kind of come full circle here, Dorsey. This has been an amazing one. Is there anything you wish I asked you on the podcast?
I don't think so. That was fun. I love how the conversation flowed. It was beautiful.
Amazing. Okay, then. Amazing. Where can the people go to find out and learn more about what you do?
Yeah, so they can follow me on socials. All my socials, I am Dorsey Pruter, so DORCY PRUTER. So I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, what's the other one? Pinterest, Twitter. X. I'm on all the socials. Same, Dorsey Pruter. And then if you want to learn more about psychedelics, come to our website, soulillumination.org. We host group ceremonies, individuals, and couples. So we do deeper work with people that want to grow together in a couple. And if you're getting divorced, you can always check us out at Conscious Co-Parenting Institute. Yeah.
Amazing. This has been amazing, really, Dorsey. And hopefully we can have you on some other time. We can break down some more stuff. This has been cool.
That sounds great. Thank you so much. This was so fun. I appreciate you having me on.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?